Do, 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 do. Hello. Which is a more professional camera? Let's talk about money. And I'm not trying to get rich in this life. However, I don't think I'm ever going to retire. Um, because I don't have anything to retire on, but said the guy that just bought a $10,000 camera, right? Well, I also sold a lot of stuff and saved up money to get this camera. I'm going to sell off my GFX 50S. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm going to keep my 50R. Let's talk about money in photography, and I've actually always held the correct, logical, and wise conclusion that you don't make it in this world, and by making it, I don't mean getting rich or whatever. Survive would be the correct word, by working harder. Not that there's anything wrong with hard work. You know, you should always be working smarter rather than harder. I've done more than a few photojournalist jobs. I've done work for the Lexington Herald-Leader. If you'd like, you can... I think there's still a search you could do on my name. The last job I did for the local newspaper, and of course newspapers are mostly dead now, was 3.5 years ago. It's been quite some time, but let's talk about which is a more professional camera. By the way, if I were really smart, because I actually have met some, incredibly rich people that I knew within 5 seconds that these were some of the dumbest people alive. I mean, just filthy, filthy rich, that they played the stock market. One guy got super rich off of cryptocurrency, and he showed me a piece of land that he has that's 47,000 acres just north of Lake Tahoe. This guy was not smart. You could tell he drinks all the time. It's like, how is this guy? I always held out hope for that. Like, if everything completely collapses in my life, I actually was happy meeting these incredibly rich yet incredibly stupid people that got rich off of the stock market. I was like, I'm way smarter than these guys, and these guys got rich off the, playing the stock market. But which is a more professional camera? And I actually thought it very funny when I made the video attacking the new Nikon D6, which everybody else did too, because we waited 5 years for a new camera that has the same damn sensor in it with no improvements at all. There's nothing there for $6,500. And it's always the case that you should have the right tool for the right job. Even though this is the world's fastest medium format camera, by far, I mean, countless leagues above any other medium format camera speed-wise, it's still not comparable to any hardcore sports action wildlife camera, not even close. So even though it's the best for that among medium format, it's still, this basically has the speed of the last firmware update of the Fujifilm X-T2. While pretty good, relative to today's standards of the X-T3 and the Nikon D5 even, or the Nikon D6, which I'm sure is a wee bit better, it's not comparable. But the question becomes, which is a more professional camera? Yes, it's the right tool for the right job. This is not a photo... Actually, this is perfectly fine for photojournalism, actually. I mean, it's not a super hardcore sports action wildlife lens, and medium format was never designed for that, nor does this camera, have ultra hardcore glass, for serious, super serious sports action wildlife. But, and it's of course the case that you need the right tool for the right job. So this is not in the same class as X-T3 or Nikon D5 or D6. The point of this damn video is, my premise that I've lived with my entire life is that it's always best to work smarter rather than harder. Some people actually get, and I actually enjoyed going to events, doing stuff related to photojournalism and sports and action, but there is no money in it because everybody on earth has a pro camera and they think they know how to use it. And there's actually some rich people out there. There's a super famous photographer that I know, and he's talking about like rich, trust fund kids that actually grew up and they're actually good at photography and they just love doing it, and they're actually doing pro gigs for free just because they don't need money because they're already super rich. So you got people out there that are trying to pay the bills with their Nikon D5, with their Sony A9 to whatever, just for events and runway shows, and they just want their name in a magazine. They're rich, but they want the fame that goes along with them being rich. There's the people that are actually trying to make money at it, they can't make because it's already saturated with people that are doing it for free. How the hell are you going to make money When, Joe Blow over here is a pretty good photographer, but he's rich and he wants to do it for free just to get his name in a magazine. And here is the title of this video, which is a more professional camera. And it's based upon the premise that you should be working smarter rather than harder. The reason why I saved up and I sold quite a few things to buy this sucker is this will pay for itself. This will. I only average 3 to 5 jobs a month, but they're easier jobs that pay way more money per hour than sports photography, action photography, the hell with wedding photography. People that are into wedding photography, I think you're ridiculous. You're a masochist. You literally are a masochist. It is a horrible, horrible, disgusting job, and everybody wants things changed. You like make a contract up, which of course you should, and say everything you need to do, and they'll want to change it later. Or they won't pay you, or you have to struggle to get your money, and then when you deliver the product, they're like, well, I wanted it this way instead. I mean, horrible people. There's easy money in event photography. Everybody's taken my advice on this. I mean, I've had a lot of people email me over the years. Like, man, I'm so happy I don't do wedding photography anymore. I'm so glad I listened to you. One guy bought a GFX 50R, I believe, or was it 50S? Anyway, you go into hotels, you see that crappy landscape photography, and of course they have huge prints. And they're in the small hallways, and they're just grainy, crappy prints. And this guy showed a hotel chain. It's like, look, this is a real image. I think, I forget what size he was printing. It was larger than 20 by 30, so I forget which size. He showed him a large print from a landscape shot, just decent landscape shot. The hotel chain was like, wow, this looks so much better than what we have. How much do you want for, a few hundred prints? They're going to frame all those. The hotel chain is going to pay somebody. The only thing they were paying him for was the prints and, his signature on the bottom. So his camera instantly paid for itself. You could have some of the best landscape photographers out there, showing their prints to this hotel chain. The point is, I'm trying to get a point here so I'm not talking too much, is the market is saturated. The jobs that the correct tool is designed for, sports action wildlife. I know some of the best wildlife photographers on this planet. I know a few of them. I know one that's a National Geographic photographer. I saw his cameras listed on eBay. I was like, and he was talking about he needed to sell it to buy his most. I talked to him, and I even called him on the phone. I'm not going to give out his name. I was like, I thought National Geographic would give you, a D850. He's like, no, I got to sell these cameras. This guy's a famous wildlife and travel photographer, and he's selling he took some of the most famous images for National Geographic. No, it's not Steve McCurry. It's a different guy. And that kind of blew me away. He was selling off his D800E and some other Nikon camera. There's no money in that stuff. I mean, this is one of the best photographers in the world. You're fighting, you could be a really great photographer, you could have a pair of Nikon D5s or a pair of D6s, but which is the more professional camera? I mean, you really want to bust your ass competing with every other Tom, Dick, and Harry that's doing it for free and they're a good photographer. Or why don't you actually go where there's still plenty of money to be made in photography? And I laugh now because people are saying, well, you're just making fun of the Nikon D6 because you can't afford it. It's $6,500. Well, this camera is almost twice the cost of a Nikon D6. Not exactly. I mean, $10,000. The D6 is $6,500. No. I can afford to get it. Not now. Not that I bought this. But the point is that even if it was a much, much better camera than it was listed as what it is in the specifications, it's not worth having. They're crap jobs. I mean, you see 40 photographers lined up on the side of a football. Newspapers are all dead. You know it and I know it. Everybody wants photography done for free. Go out and do this job and we'll put your name on our website. I was like, where's my money? The gas, the travel. The people that are making money in photography, this is about working smarter rather than harder. This is a much more professional, even if it was the same cost as a D6, which of course it's not. This is way more of a professional camera than the D6 or the D5 or any other hardcore sports, because there's lots of money to be made in the market that this camera was designed for. Interiors, corporate gigs, the people with a lot of freaking money, It's like, listen, sir, I've got 102, not only am I, a photographer that's going to meet your needs and listen to you, but I'm going to take the shot with a advanced 102 megapixel medium format camera. I'm going to take a picture of your staff that work at Job X, so you can put that on your website. Not that you need medium format for that. You can have an extra large print framed for the the reception room of your business, your prestigious business, and you can't make a 50 by 40 print or whatever size they want to, and you can't do that and impress somebody, because of course it's about viewing distance and people want to get up close. You could knock their socks off with this. There's a lot more money to be made for a lot less struggle, and the market is, not only is it not saturated like it is for sports action wildlife, there's a lot of money to be had, but people just don't go out and get it. They don't. You've seen it and I've seen it. I've seen images in the reception rooms of prestigious businesses that are they're crap. It's like, I thought about more than a few times, just some anonymous places I was visiting, that picture in your hallway, what if you could do like something 10 times better than that? How much did there's a lot of money to be made there. The reason why I'm calling something like this a more professional camera is because the money is easier, the work is a lot less. I'm sorry it took me so long to get around to say that. Just hard work does not equal money. People, if you work hard and keep your nose to the ground, no, it doesn't. There are people out there that are just, living from hand to mouth, and they got muscles because they work so damn hard. I mean, they work their ass off, 2 or 3 jobs. Instead of working your ass off to the point where you're ready to die, how about you work smarter? Go to an event. They say, ask Jesse J. Somebody they asked, some robber. They said, why do you rob the banks? He's like, well, that's where the money's at. There's no money in sports action, wildlife. In that National Geographic photographer I talked to, it was way worse than I thought. There's no money in this stuff anymore. Newspapers are all but dead. When's the last time you saw a magazine rack and bought a magazine? I don't know how the hell National Geographic is making their money. I guess from donations and other frou-frou. But I mean, people don't buy that stuff anymore. There's a lot of money in photography, but it's not around the tools like a Nikon D5, Nikon D6. This is the logical reason and the wise reason why this is, even though it can't handle hardcore sports action wildlife like a D5 or a D6 or Sony A9, this is the reason why this is much, much more of a professional camera. Because you can do jobs that will mean instant. The corporate clients never argue with you either. They write you a check, it never bounces. Basically, it never bounces. Wedding photography sucks. I mean, it sucks. I think of all these jobs that suck. Think of the architecture and the landscape and the corporate events, the product photography alone. And what's better than sitting in your underwear in your basement doing product photography and watching TV and drinking a soda or something? Talk about easy. Pop your headphones on, blast the music, do some product photography. Impressive product photography. So, anyway, that's the point of this video. This is, if the Nikon D6 wasn't a failure and it was like, wow, oh my God, it's a hybrid camera, it does everything but wipe your butt, it's amazing, which of course it's not, I still wouldn't have bought one. Because there's no money to be had where that camera, and without working my ass off to the core, there's no money to be had in that camera whereby which it would pay for itself or pay for itself easily without busting my butt and breaking my back. The sort of jobs that you can make and nearly instantly pay for this camera, which this camera will pay for itself, are jobs that don't require a bunch of blood, sweat, and tears, don't require hoofing it really hard, don't require bounce checks and arguing with idiot brides like wedding photography. Screw wedding photography. Everybody's out there trying to give on YouTube and other places. I just laugh my ass off. Take my course on learning wedding photography. All these people that are famous, even the really good photographers, the amazing photographers, the reason why they have courses on teaching wedding photography is because they themselves hate wedding photography. They don't want to do it anymore. Just spit. They don't want to do it anymore. They want to make money off of other people. It's like, I'm not going to do this crap anymore, but I don't mind making a bunch of money teaching other people how to do it. which is brilliant. That is another avenue of working smarter rather than, I'm done with wedding photography and now I'm a famous wedding photographer, but this job sucks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give courses, and I'm going to sell courses and workshops on how to do wedding photography. That way I don't have to do wedding photography anymore. I'm just going to tell everybody else how to do wedding photography. I think I made my point. Thank you so very much. And you will notice, too, that other YouTubers, photography YouTube channels, don't talk about stuff like this. And the reason for that is because they are clueless.